Hi, hello, and welcome in our video. In this video, we will be talking about collections. Collection is a very simple artifact format. You probably know that we have 5 artifact formats: collections, modules, diagrams, text, and files. Collections and modules offer different ways to group and manage set of artifacts. We will be comparing collections and modules a lot because they are similar, but at the same time they are very different. So let's now talk about similarities and differences between collections and modules. Both module and collection are artifacts that serve as container for grouping related artifacts. A module provides structure with hierarchy and headings. You can see module on the right side. So you see it's very intuitive, very user-friendly, and you see headings and you see also hierarchy. You can restructure this so you can promote or demote headings, create entirely different structure, or just drag and drop requirements and change the structure in this way. You cannot do that in collection. What you see here on the left is collection. In this collection, there is basically the same information what we have here in this module. So first 10 artifacts from this module are here in this collection. You can see right away that it's not that user-friendly. You can see that you don't see the structure very well, you don't see hierarchy very well, and also if I will try to reorganize those artifacts, I am not able to do so. So, collection is just simple grouping of artifacts. Collection contains an unordered group of artifacts that has no particular structure. You can see it right away that you don't see any structure or any hierarchy. You can choose and pick artifacts to create this collection, so this set of artifacts with common purpose or focus. So anytime you need to create unstructured set of related artifacts, you can use collections. But when we are talking about grouping of artifacts, module is also a structure where you can group artifacts. You can select artifacts and group them, include them in this module, and you see this module is much nicer, much more user-friendly. So, when would you create collection and when would you create module? Let me tell you right away that 99% of the time you will be using modules. And not just because they are nicer and more user-friendly. No, there are some significant downsides that prohibits you from using collection. Also, there is no reason to create collections when there is very little that modules cannot do. There are a couple of use cases when you can consider creating collection. For example, if you are grouping artifacts for review, or grouping artifacts for backlog, or for iteration for sprint, or collection based on ownership or some functionality. Moreover, you can use collection for documentation purposes or for reporting purposes, where you can export the artifacts from collection to CSV or to generate a document style report in PDF or Microsoft Word. I don't want to sound very negative, but although those were valid use cases, I can find you at least 2 ways how can you do it differently and better not using collections. So why I am so negative about collections, and I will not count user friendliness or ease of use. The biggest problem for me is that in collections you are using base artifact and in modules you are using module artifacts. 99% of the time you will be working inside a module because you will be working in a document-like structure. So here in the module, you will not be working in a collection. And when you have base artifact, this base artifact is not 100% same as a module artifact. For example, you see this handheld AMR, a meter reader carries handheld computer, blah, blah, blah. You have the same artifact here. So those are the same artifact, even with same ID. You see, really the same artifact, but this is module, this is base. Now, in this module, you see on this right panel, I have some important comment and I have some links. If so far you don't know anything about links, don't worry, just let me tell you that links are super important. But you see this comment and links here in module artifact where you are working 99% of the time. But when I click on this same artifact with the same ID and as a base artifact, in this right panel, you don't see any links and any comments because comments and links and also tags are not propagated from module artifact to the base artifact. And that's a huge problem. That's why collections are not usable for me, not for review, because in a review, you need to see links. You need to review that everything is linked together, that everything is linked correctly. And of course, I can admit that you can change your way of working to work with the collections, but I don't see any reason to do so because you can do almost everything in a module or in some another way. All right, but let's stop the negativity and let's talk about what you can do in a collection. A collection can contain almost any kind of artifact, including modules. Module cannot include another module, and module cannot include collection. But collection can include everything except another collection. So collection can include any kind of artifact, even module, but collection cannot include another collection. Also, after you create the collection, like this one, you can link this collection to another artifact, or you can link another artifact to this collection, and you also can comment this collection. Similarly to modules, you can create specific views, you can create specific filters, you can play with columns. So for example, I can add column, I will add state column, and you see some of those artifacts are under review. I can also modify those columns. So for example, I can remove modified by and modified on. So exactly the same as in a module. If you are using collections a lot, you can create specific folder for your collection. So for example, right now I have two collections and they are in this training project folder, but I can create a new folder for collection. All right, so I have new folder here and I can just drag and drop those collections to this new folder and they are here. By clicking on the collection, I can navigate to this collection. I see what artifacts are in this collection. And for example, I have this more actions menu and here I have another options. And again, 90% of those options are exactly the same as in a module. So this is not collection specific. For example, you can export collection. You can also export artifact from a module. You can generate a report for a view. You can generate a report for a view in a module, etc., etc. You can also create a review for this collection. So if you would like to use this collection as grouping artifact for a review, you can create a review from this collection. So those are another options you can do here. When I will navigate back, you see I have personal collection and release collection. Those are just artifact type names. You can create any artifact type you would like. So for example, if you would like to have sprint collection, why not? I can navigate up here to settings, manage component properties, and here in artifact types, I can create sprint collection. Excellent. The default artifact format will be collection, save, and if I will navigate back, I can click on collection, create, and you see I have sprint collection. All right, this collection name is my first sprint. Why not? And here this is empty collection. You can create new artifact or add existing artifact. Probably 99% of the time you will be adding existing artifacts to collection. So I will click here and you can search for your artifacts. For example, I will navigate here and I will select those artifacts, add, and from this module, for example, those artifacts, why not? And from this, those artifacts, add and close. And I created a collection. Of course, this is not a real world example. In a real world, you would have careful consideration what artifacts you would like to have in your collection. This is just an example that I can pick and choose from any module, any artifact. Now I need to save this collection because in a module, everything you do in a module is automatically saved. Here in a collection, I added some artifacts, but I need to save this collection. So I will hit on save. And now my collection is ready. If you want, you can also compare collections. So you can navigate up here to more actions, compare collections, select collection. I will select, for example, a review collection. Why not? Compare. And you see that 26 artifacts are only in my first sprint collection. 3 artifacts are only in review collection. And 3 artifacts are in both. So in my first sprint collection and in my review collection. So that was collections comparison. I also need to tell you about two things why our customer find collections helpful. First is that you can link collections to test plans in QM, and the second is that you can link collections to plans in EVM. In EVM plan, you can automatically create tasks for each artifact in a collection, so your workflow will be easier. Okay, so that was my take on collections. Of course, collections are great and they are helpful, and if you find any of mentioned functionality useful, then go ahead and use it. I just wanted to provide you with the context and with honest opinion missing in any article, documentation, or blog post I found with very vague description of features and use cases, but at the end of the day, you had no idea when and why you should use collections. So after this video, you know why. Because there is a very little reasons to do so, as there are just a very small number of use cases where collections are superior to modules or other features. Alright, and with this, I really hope this video was informative for you and I look forward to see you in our next videos.